Hi, so many people, hi. So welcome to the first talk of ScotlandJS this year. I'm glad you all made it. I hope you had some breakfast. You might need it. So I'm Ola. I'm an engineer at Mozilla. I mostly work on performance, web compatibility, and specs for CSS and JavaScript. So today we'll try to understand how TCP works. Who of you is very confident in TCP? I'm just raising my hands because I'm encouraging you. So maybe we even learn who's delivering those little packages everyone is talking about, and maybe even learn what happens to the ones that are lost. Okay, so let's jump right in and take a look at the Internet Protocol family. You might recognize one of two of those, and it's a very small family, just about like 500 members, tiny. So as you can see here, they're probably the most common ones, so you can recognize one or two. You see HTTPS, SMTP, also maybe you know FTP. And when you're as old as I am, you might remember Telnet. There are also like different models that group those protocols just to make sure that their roles are a little bit more understandable. For example, this is the OSI model, which groups all protocols on like 7 different layers. For example, network layer or application layer, which is like a little bit more readable to human. There's also this other layer everyone seemed to forget about, like the 8th layer. And that's like the most important one, but also like the hardest one. Ugh. So don't forget that one. There's also the DoD layer model, which is a little bit different. DoD stands for Department of Defense as well. They kind of developed it. And just has the 4 layers. But that one is actually the most common today. The DoD model groups the protocol like a little bit different way. You see the relation in the graphics. So for example, we will still have the application layer and the network layer, but the 5th and 6th layer are missing. The DoD layer model is also called often TCP and IP model. Why? Because in comparison to the OSI model, both of those protocols, so TCP and IP, are like the foundation of the suite. So what are the roles of IP and TCP? What do they do? IP, short Internet Protocol. Okay, reasonable, right? It's here to give the sender and receiver like a number, so an address, so the package knows where to go and where it's coming from. Like this one. Cool. So you could also give them like totally random names like playground or park, but computers are not that good with words, so we just stick with the numbers. Other thing the protocol does is to check for like the closest router to forward something. So it'll be like, you, take the packet, pass it on, right? TCP is short for Transmission Control Protocol, so it controls the transmission. Surprise! As the physical network is not really reliable, the protocol is taking care of like transmitting the data. So it creates a reliable network and makes sure everything is coming from one point to another. And especially with something so wibbly wobbly like the physical network, it's a really good thing to have, but hey, at least the sharks stopped chewing on their undersea fiber cables, so that's good, improvement. So what does TCP do and what not? So, TCP makes sure data arrives in the correct order. That's cool. Sure, the data has minimal error, so it's actually correct. Makes sure duplicated data is just thrown away, discarded. Makes sure that lost packages are resent. And it protects the network from being overloaded. We get back to that later. What it does not do, it does actually not care who is sending and receiving. It knows that, but it just doesn't care. It's just this little cute delivery bear. It's like, there you go. Okay, so now we hopefully understand the roles, right? Do we? We should get some coffee for everyone. So So the next step would be understand what those packages actually are everyone's talking about. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. Makes things easier. Imagine, like, your friend, really good friend, is sick, and they really like to read. And you're like, okay, this is my favorite book. I'm going to just give it to them, and yeah. But you basically can't bike over and drop it off because reasons you don't want to get sick too. So you have a great roommate. Yay, roommates. And they do it for you. So your roommate grabs that book, bikes over to your friend, drops it off, and comes back. So this is how you deliver a package. Good, good. Okay, we got that. But what is a package? Okay, so your friend is still sick and like, ugh, sick. But you're a good friend, right? So you pack up like a care package for them. Like you put in some great stuff like their favorite tea and some candy to like ease their throat and like some cookies. You sort those in like 3 boxes because you remember those boxes you bought in IKEA like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, still like in the back of your cupboard, same size, those. You put numbers on them so your friend can actually be sure none of them was lost because they're kind of brain dead. And your roommate is again so nice, bags them over. Your friend is so happy about that, writes you a little love note, be like, I love you so much. Comes back with that, like the roommate, and you read it and you're happy. Sounds reasonable, right? Good, there was an answer like that. Congratulations, you just understood a whole round trip of data package transfer. So those packets are basically nothing else than little boxes that contain candy, tea, cookies, or, well, data. The purpose is like to group those bits and bytes, and every box has like a number, so you know the order, and especially if one got lost or not. And the last and most step would be basically to understand the transfer itself. Okay. But explaining that with data is kind of boring, right? How about we take something else? Who of you likes pancakes? Raise your hand. I like to see it. That's good, that's good. I mean, I love pancakes. You can split them up in small units, put them in the boxes, they're fresh and tasty, right? Okay, so let's stick with pancakes. So, every transfer starts with a so-called 3-way handshake. The 3-way handshake is here to make sure both sides are the correct ones and aware of the transfer. And this is how the 3-way handshake actually looks like. So we have, you might remember that from school, some of you. And you might have that, so there's a sender, there's a receiver. Those are basically 2 round trips. But to be honest, I don't like that one that much because it's kind of scary. Yeah, so the other day, I mean, you met Emma already. The other day we were in a playground. And so I was reading a book, and she wanted to know what it was about. So I explained it to her, and she was like, that's way too easy. I'm going to go and build a fort now. I was like, I don't care. And that book was actually about the 3-way handshake and TCP. So let's make you feel the same way. Let's translate this to human. So let's meet our sender and receiver. They're good people. Stefan, you might know this person, is an engineer who loves to ride the bike and cook for others. Dominic, also an engineer, who enjoys traveling a lot, and because he's traveling so much, home-cooked meals, that's cool. And both of them have a few things in common, like speaking at conferences. I don't ask questions. And food, and surprise, especially pancakes. That's cool, right? So, imagine. Stefan made some pancakes. Dominic really wants some, but they both really want to be sure that the transfer works and everything arrives in the correct destination. Like, no one likes a hungry Dominic. Dominic is my neighbor, and trust me, you don't want that. So this is why we perform the 3-way handshake. Stefan grabs some paper and picks a random number. 23 it is, and he writes that on a piece of paper. So this is what we call a request to synchronize. Okay, Dominic takes a look at that note. He performs then ACK, which stands for acknowledgement. Therefore, he adds just the number 1, and it's always the 1. to let Stefan know that he received that note, he also thinks about a number, which is hard because pancakes. But he makes it 7, great, and sends that out. Note moves back to Stefan, and he performs the ACK, adds 1 to Dominic's number, and we're good to send those pancakes. Those little notes are not just love letters. I mean, they are, totally, but they're also called the TCP headers. They contain like all the information TCP package needs, and this is how they look in real life. Who likes that? Good job. Let's translate to human. Okay, sorry. So let's take a look. When the moment that Dominic basically sends back the little love note to Stefan. The sender would be here, source port would be Dominic. Okay, we got that. The destination port is Stefan. Dominic's random number was 7, so we put the sequence number would be 7. When the data is transferred to the TCP body, the length of the data in bit would be added to that number, but as we just doing the handshake, nothing gets transferred, so it stays 7. Stefan picked the 23, got an ACK, so +1, alt knowledge number is that. The next would be the data offset, which pins down exactly where the TCP header ends and when the body starts. Reserved means we still have like 3 bits for possible implementations, and next to it we already have flags like SYN, ACK, or FIN you heard about. Window size, window contains the size of the data the sender and receiver can handle. So the size of the pancake batch, depending on the direction, is either the one from the receiver or the sender side. We get back to that later. Security. Checksum is the minimal possible security effort. They tried. Urgent pointer gives you the possibility to say, hey, that package is so important. You totally need to fast forward it. Just a hint? Don't. Options give you like the details for urgent pointers and other things, and everyone likes to have options, right? Padding is a great performance improvement. We assume always small boxes in 32 bits, and if the header does not fill this up, the padding will. And the cool thing is we don't have to calculate like bit by bit by bit, but just boxes, and that improves a lot. And well, data pancakes, that's easy. So, okay, you see the blue ones, right? We heard about those already. We take a closer look at the yellow ones today. And the green ones are cool, but not that important right now. Some of you might have noticed that Stefan and Dominic are not in the audience today, which is very, very sad. But they sent you their love and some delegates. Say hello to Louis and Katie. Please stand up. Say hello to both. And to show you how committed Stefan and Dominic are, they both changed their legal names officially. I mean, Twitter is so official. Yeah. So, as I mentioned, Louis is very, very hungry. How would you feel like about if we would feed them some pancakes here and today? Would you like that? Good. Because as a parent, I always have a fresh batch of pancakes in my bag. Everyone does that, right? So before we start, we just want to make sure Lois does not get sick or overeat. So we need you around, buddy. Yeah, I know, puns, but still. This is why we need to check for how many pancakes he can actually eat. In TCP, this mechanism is called flow control. It's here to prevent like the sender from overwhelming the receiver with pancakes. So possible reasons are Louis is busy right now to getting some calorie, or already is under heavy load because he already receiving some berries, some maple syrup, crispy bacon from someone, I don't know, another transfer, or has a fixed amount of buffer space left. Always say, we say in human, a plate can just hold that many pancakes. So here's you can see a very simplified version of a round trip. Usually the round trip looks like this. We don't have enough space on the slides, so let's stick with the other. And Louis just received some pancakes. but he does not send anything right now except of the love letter, aka TCP header. And that now we store the value for how many pancakes he can actually put on his plate per package. And this way we make sure there are no leftovers. He does not overeat, but gets enough food as possible. So per every act that all pancakes have arrived, he writes like updated value on that note. Be like, give me more. And the value is called receive window size, or RWND in short, which is like the available buffer size. Louis is letting us know every round trip how many pancakes he can actually receive and how much space he's got left on his plate. Same goes for Katie, in case she would give receive something from Louis, like maybe some crispy bacon or something, but no, I'm sorry, you won't. Today, the maximum possible value is 1 gigabyte, which is very likely to differ through configurations, the network, round trip times, all those things. And this is hard to remember. Just imagine that is basically equal to 1 plate, right? Cool. But wait, what about the sender and the network? We don't want to overwhelm them too, right? Okay. This is why we have the congestion window size, CWND in short. They are not just sent, but just known by the sender. This value defines how many segments can be sent out per package. And you can think of a segment like a batch of pancakes, right? They're measured in so-called TCP protocol data units, defined by the connection they're using. So your batch of pancakes will be smaller if you use a modem, but way bigger if you use like a fiber cable connection. Okay. The size of your congestion window can never be bigger than the receiver window size. Why, you might ask? Easy. A plate can hold just that many pancakes. Good. Per round trip, the congestion window size keeps increasing up to the maximum receiver window, or until the network basically reaches limits. Does this make sense for you? People are nodding, I like that. Cool. You can talk. Hi, I'm here. So now we can actually start the real transfer. So Katie and Louis, please stand up. You look so hungry.
Very.
All positions, good, good, good. Oh, I forgot something. Everyone in between, welcome to the talk. Please stand up. Yes. Warm applause for everyone. Thank you. Joke. Yeah, first row, sorry. So just so you know what you have to do. We're gonna transfer some pancakes from that side there. And then Louis will eat them, and they will get back, right? That's not too hard. And just to make it easier for everyone else, you should turn around so they can see you. And remember, it's all about the performance, right? So fast as possible. Okay, okay, okay. All set up? Yeah? Can we start? So, okay. Set, ready, go! So we start the first round trip with 2 segments. That's good, that's good. Oh, he looks so hungry. He looks so hungry. Oh my God. Yes. Moving on, moving on. That's a really bad round trip time. I'm sorry. Oh, we got an act. That's good. That's good. Nail it. Eat. Faster, faster. Pass it back, pass it back. Oh, there's even a love note. I like that. I love that. And the next, so you can receive more. He's almost finished. Yeah, so increase. Yeah, we just now get 4 segments. 4.
We have a bug.
Oh no, this TCP connection is like. Good, good, good. And moving on. So now we have 4 segments. We increased, right? He looks so hungry right now. Good, we got an act. We go back. Yes, yes, that's good. That's good. And now we're basically going to increase to 8 segments. Let's see if he can eat that. I hope that no one will steal pancakes, though. That would be very, very rude. Very rude. And we're going back, we're going back. Good, good, good. Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay, I guess people are hungry. Just so pancakes. Okay, so I guess we got some package loss because not everything was there in order. Thank you so much, everyone. Good job. Enjoy your pancakes. That was amazing. Thank you. I hope you're awake now. So you might have realized two things in our live demo. One, we increased the segments in the round trips, right? So the other was package loss. I told you to get some breakfast. So let's tackle the increase first, just to be sure that you understand that. Was the increase of the batches of pancakes like totally random? No, it wasn't. So TCP has this mechanism to optimize this, and it's called slow start. What slow start does is basically estimate available capacity between sender and receiver. We can measure that availability by basically exchanging data, right? So this is our measurement. How are you going to ask? Easy. You remember I was talking about segments, right? Where a stash of pancakes is basically one segment. The reason why we have defined the congestion window size is to make sure we do not overwhelm the network or the sender. And they never start with like full bandwidth, because that would be probably like way too much in the beginning. And just we just test out the connection. And so we increase slowly the segments and the amount of data or pancakes that we're actually sending. Simplified, the slow start is increasing the amount of segments per round trip until we start to lose pancakes. And the horizontal time x is like the time, the vertical one is like the batch of pancakes or the segments. The default initial value, like in real life servers, is like 10 segments, so we start with this, but as we started with 2, so let's go with that. It's also easier to like count on the slides. The congestion window value is like 2. After an ACK, so we completed the round trip and can actually measure the round trip time, and it's fine, we double it up. So our starting algorithms increasing the number. Here it would be 4. Then it would be 8 if we get an ACK, and then it would be 16, and so on. Until we basically start losing those packages, which would mean we don't get back an ACK, or the round trip time is like too big and we time out. This is how the algorithm looks like, but again, easier, right? So let's assume we just lost packages. Oh no. So what now? What happens now? TCP will basically resend those packages. This is why TCP is actually so cool, takes care of the stuff. But this will probably fail again because apparently the network can't handle so many pancakes. Package loss is actually not a bad thing. It's a built-in mechanism that we need, and it tells us when we overwhelm the network. To avoid including more package loss and to avoid overwhelming the network, we have something like that is called like congestion avoidance. The feedback mechanism, aka package loss, showed us all along the way there's like a congestion link or a router, and this is why we need to adjust the congestion window size. We reset the congestion window size back to the moment where we didn't lose any packages. And then the congestion window, the congestion avoidance algorithm takes over. At a certain point, we will again lose packages, but then we do just the same thing again. Let me explain you how it works. So, resetting the value back to something that worked. So here it was 8, and we don't double the amount, we just take half of it and add it. So here we used to have 8 that worked, so we add 4. And then we have 12, again half of it, 6, and it goes on until we basically lose again, right? So that's actually a really nice thing. The algorithm is actually like the trickiest part here. When you're too aggressive at cutting down that, then it will slow down your connection. If you're not adjusting quickly enough, your connection will die because you will lose pancakes all the time. PIR is one of the nicest algorithms I've found around because they've been developed constantly, which is super important. And this one actually could cut down 3 to 10% and increase your performance. Sounds too good to be true, right? So who now likes TCP? Please raise your hand. Who likes TCP? That's good, that's good, that's good. Because I've got some bad news. When we transfer the data every time, we hit like the congestion window limit, right? And we have to wait for the ACK. So round-trip time. And we always have the round-trip time as a delay. Either the sender or receiver are forced to stop and just wait for the ACK, which can cause like really big gaps in the data flow. This effect is called bandwidth delay product. The round-trip time here is our bottleneck. And connection is unreliable, and the time can vary actually a lot. Good idea here would be to optimize both window size so that the round-trip time would be enough to actually get the ACK back. The bigger window size is without package loss, of course, the better. And the lower the round-trip time, also the better. Also using window scaling as an automated option is a really great feature that can help you with this. And also use CDNs, because this will definitely also help you with round-trip time. Since TCP is an abstraction of a reliable network over an unreliable connection, it includes really, really cool features we already talked about, like basic package error checking and correction, in-order delivery, retransmission of lost packages, flow control, congestion control and avoidance. Really nice, right? Those features are all built in for a very, very specific words. What are they even? A purpose. So they limit also the possibilities of the protocol, of course, because they're optimized for a very specific use case. As we have reliable and in order built-in delivery, we rely on those segments to arrive in order. Here comes Headofline Blocking into play. Let me explain that to you. When we send out, for example, 3 segments, and the first one never arrives, all following will be dropped. 4 pancakes. And the package will basically resend. So until the first one arrives, then the second one, and then the third one. And then we basically get an ACK. This might cause the connection to die at some point, as we'll be overwhelmed by the resending all the time. And this is no way around this. So consider something else when you don't need like a reliable network in order delivery. And please do not build stuff up on UDP, because you will definitely in 6 months end up rebuilding TCP and be like, oh, I heard that story so many times. Just don't. And the last thing, because I mean, you now hopefully understand what TCP does and why we need it and why it's so cool. So maybe it will help you to understand a little bit more what it's important to do in the real world, so in your everyday life, to help you with performance. So in the real world, we mainly care about 3 things. The size, the distance, and the order. The size is related to like the round-trip time and both window sizes as well as the bandwidth delay product. The order of the packages can cause head-of-line blocking, which is definitely not a good thing. And the distance is like the package that the package has to travel. So let's start with the distance. Please use a CDN to deliver your resources to like the shortest physical distance possible. The lower the round-trip time it is, the better, and it's definitely worth it. Also, you might not even need to load the resources again, as the cache can help you to keep it stored. So you do not even need to like send out the request again. I know this might sound shocking for you, but I'm a big fan of splitting up the bundles in ones you need now and some you might need later. So some components are, for example, below the fold. Do you really need to load that JS and CSS now? Those pictures you're actually not seeing on the site right now, do you need to load them now? Probably not, and this will definitely help you. Define the order of your assets and preload them. Sarah gave an amazing talk yesterday about that. If you weren't here yesterday, please check it out. It's totally worth it. And this is how you can decrease the blocking, actually, drastically. So, size, request correct image sizes. I know, also very surprising, but still. And also the correct format. So you do not have to send that many segments to so many round trips. Use lazy loading on big images, for example, with SVG. This is like, I think, newer technique to render SVGs, like images and SVGs out of it, and just display that first, and then load the image in the background, which looks really, really, really nice. And if you like to find out more about performance and profiling, come to me, talk to me, I'm around. I mean, you know how I look, you also see that on your badges, still the weirdest thing ever. And you can check out one of my most favorite tools. This is Perf HTML. And I'm not saying that because I'm working on this, but also because I really like it. Yeah, so I think the round trip was a little bit too fast because I'm already done. I'm super sorry. Yeah, last thing. So I prepared this really, 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 really cool ending for you, but the package got lost, and I'm sorry. So, thank you so much.